Hey everyone, I'm going to make a quick video about one of our problems that are due for homework this week. It's on page 133, number 26, and I actually took a picture of the problem and posted it in the left-hand corner. So it says, some IQ tests are standardized to a normal model with a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 16. Draw the model of these IQ scores. Clearly label it showing the 68, 95, 99.7 rule predicts. So what that means is basically you're going to draw a standard normal curve like I have here, but instead of putting on the standard normal curve where we have 0, 1, 2, and 3, and -1, -2, -3 representing the standard deviations, I'm actually putting the number for the scores of the IQ scores. So our mean, it says, is 100. So I'm going to write that up here at the top. So x bar equals 100, and our SX, standard deviation, is 16. So what that means is my 0 now, instead of 0, it becomes 100. Instead of 1, I'm going to add 16, so that'll give me 116. Instead of 2, I'm going to have 132. And instead of 3, I'm going to have 148. And then for the lower part, since I'm going to the left, I'm going to subtract 16. So 100 minus 16 gives me 84. Minus another 16 gives me 68. Minus another 16 gives me 52. Is that right? I'm going to double check that one. Yeah. Okay, so instead of having z-scores, we have like our actual x values. Now it says that they want us to mark what the rule predicts. So I'm just going to section off the different sections. So remember, we said that between 1 and -1 is 68% of our data. So from there to there, I'm going to say, all right, this is 68%. And then between 2 and -2, I'm going to mark here all of this in between. And some people wrote it below, like I'm going to do here. So 68 to 132, that's 95% of our data. And then for the last one, we've got 3, all of this here. So 3 to 3 gives us 99.7% of the data. So that's what they want to see. So now that we have it marked off, B says, in what interval would you expect the central 95% of IQ scores to be found? Well, we literally just found it. 95% is in that purple color. So we have 68 to 132. So for B, I write it's between 68 to 132. Then it says, for C, about what percent of people would have IQ scores above 116? So since 116 is located, let me do this in a different color. Let's highlight it actually. Alright, so since 116 is located here, and I already know that if I shade from 0 all the way to the left, that's 50%. Well, I also know that between 84, between 84 and 116, that's 68%. And if I cut it in half down the middle where the mean is. So what is 68 divided by 2? That gives us 34. So this tiny chunk up here is actually 34%, and this other tiny chunk is 34%. So now, if I'm adding this other 34% onto it, that's going to give me 50% plus 34%. So let's see. Now that's not, so we'll have, I'm going to write it at the bottom. So we have, whoops, keep highlighting. 50% plus 34% is going to give us 84%. This is for C. But 84%, that's below 116. And for C, it says that we want above 16. So I actually want all of this section that I'm shading in the purple off to the right. Well, since the whole entire graph would be equal to 100, I would just take 100% minus 84%, and that would give us 16%. So my answer for C should be 16%. Now for D, it says, what percent of people should have IQ scores between 68 and 84? So let's see, we've got 68 and 84, so this tiny chunk. So again, now I know that the center is, this section from here to here is 68%. And I know that the next section added on to it is 95%. So what's 95 minus 68? That should give us, I believe, yeah, 27%. So we have 27% left over, but I need 27%, half of it to go on this right side where I'm circling, and half of it to go on this left side where we want to know. So 27% divided by 2 would give each chunk there 13.5%. So for D, between 68 and 84 scores, we're actually 13.5% of people would have those scores. About what percent of people would have scores above 132? So now we are talking about this, let me get a different color really quick. We're talking about this tiny, tiny, tiny bit between 2 and, above 2 and 3, all the way here. So if I know that well, let's just do some adding. So we know that it's 34 and 34, 13.5 and 13.5. The next piece is 99.7. So what's 95 minus, or 99.7 minus 95 is going to give us 4.7. Divided by 2, that's going to leave this small chunk 2.35%. This other small chunk on this side 2.35%, but I still have left over because we're only at 99.7% and I need to be at the total of 100%. So if I take 100% minus 99.7%, that's gonna give me, that's going to give me 0.3%, and 0.3 divided by 2 should give me 0.15%, which is right after that -3 and that +3. That's that 0.5%. So what is, for E, we want the section that's 2.35% plus 0.15%, which will give us 2.5%. So I hope that helps us with breaking up the standard normal curve and figuring out the areas under the curve using the graph that you built. All right, I will see you on Monday.